Good morning. The it's seems like it's been a week since Saturday, but it's good to get back on the correct side of the scoreboard, like I said after the game, and take that game and try to build on it as a foundation and move on. Certainly, we got a big challenge this week in BYU, who's a really, really good football team. I don't think the record indicates how good a team they are. They've lost 3 games to ranked teams, 2 in the top 10. They're top 10 in about every defensive category, and they're always a big physical team, and this year is no exception. So they're well coached and playing very well, especially defensively.
Raise your hand if you have questions.
I guess what do you go back to look at how they might play you defensively? I mean, I know they play Air Force for a number of years, but kind of how do you scout them since you haven't coached against them before, and how do you, I guess, go about that?
You go back and you look at how they play teams this year, and then you'll go back and try to find some games against teams that are somewhat similar. But you can find the same formations. I think that doubles are doubles and trips are trips, and the way they line up to other people will be somewhat close to the way they line up to you, I think. So it's you look at it and you gauge as a coach, if you had their people and their scheme, how would you line up? That's kind of the way I've always done it.
How do you like this far into the season going out of conference, especially when it's a intersectional type thing from so far away at a team that you don't normally see?
I don't really have a thought about it. I hadn't thought that much about it. They're just the next team on the schedule, and they're a very good team. So you get ready to play them. I said early on, given your druthers, you'd rather play non-conference schedule up front and play them up front. But certainly they've got a good football team, so it'll be a challenge.
I guess defensively, you have to keep an eye on Cody Hoffman for sure.
Well, I think that they've got a system that they've run for a lot of years, and the big key I think is their quarterback. To me, he's the key. He's an experienced guy. He's older. He can really kill you scrambling and running the ball. He's got a strong arm, but he's really hurt people when they get out of their rush lanes and when he pulls the thing down on boots and runs. Quarterback is a good player. The tailback's a good player, and they'll be huge on the offensive line. So, they'll have guys. They'll pass the look test, I promise. And we played them every year when I was at the University of Hawaii, and you won't play too many teams that look any better getting off the bus than BYU.
I know that he didn't get to play very many snaps, but I'm curious how you felt getting to play so many second-team defensive linemen impacted the way that the starters play.
Well, we rotated the defensive line pretty good. I think that right now that's a good plan. I don't know that anybody stands out that they're that much better than the other guys coming in. So it's everybody gets some snaps. We didn't play as many, which is a good thing. When you're better on third down, you don't have to play as many. So we did a better job on third down and got them off the field some. Our special teams probably contributed to that a lot because we kept getting the ball inside our own 10 and you had a lot of clock to run. So it was just one of those games where we didn't play a whole lot of snaps defensively, which is ideal. That's what you'd like to have every week.
Can you address the kicking situation, and how is Scully? Do you expect him to be able to go today?
Probably not. I didn't know he was hurt Saturday when I took him out until after I took him out. Then he said he was hurt. That's an open competition.
I guess with the Holder situation, do you look at some other people, or were you satisfied with what David
Sean
did?
Poole will be back. He'll be holding.
Okay. But he can't. Will he punt, or will it still be Rodwell?
He'll be holding.
Daniel Drummond has started to get a few more snaps now that he's, got some of the rust off. What have you seen from him?
Well, Daniel's played a lot of football. He's done some things. I think he and Jabari are battling over reps at that position, and right now Jabari's probably the starter, but Daniel's going to play a lot.
You mentioned the pass rush after the game.
Mhm.
What can you do? I mean, obviously blitzing, I suppose, is an option, but what do you feel like your best options are to get more pressure?
Blitzing. We can rush better, and we can run some games up there and do some things. And when guys get individual battles, they need to win some. When you watch the tape, we're actually closer to the guy sometimes than it seems during the games. But clearly, I think anybody would tell you always want to get better pressure, and that's something we've got to do, be it through scheme or individuals or whatever. But that's clearly an issue.
I imagine that the way that the game was going, you guys just shied away from calling those blitzes and holding some of that stuff back since you didn't need to use it.
Not necessarily. I just think that we had 7 days to put in a defense. There's not a whole lot of stuff you had. We had some stuff that we didn't run. It was the 2 scoring plays they hit. One was in a 2 deep coverage, and we really just got down low. Somebody turned underneath, guy loose, and the safety jumped him. It shouldn't have really been a play. So you continue to work. If you can't, you can do a couple things. If you're not getting pressure-wise, you drop more guys, make it harder to find holes. And when we do rush, we need to rush more than they can block. So it's kind of the nature of it. And you can't just be one-dimensional. You got to be able to do both.
Paul, 4 for 9 on third down defensively. That's pretty damn good. Is that as much a product of how good you guys were on first down on third down as much as it was on the conversion down?
Yeah, I think a big part of it was we stopped the run. And if teams have a hard time running the ball, when you do get in third downs, sometimes you got third and longs, and they had a couple of 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 12s that they got 8 yards or 7 yards. You could play back at the sticks and come up and tackle them, and they had to punt the ball, and that happened to them a couple times. So, if you could have that kind of third down defense every week, you'd win a lot of games.
I guess with Nelson at quarterback, he can move around, and
Mm-hmm.
does that adds probably a different element to all of this, in particular when you're having trouble getting pressure, and there's the danger of blitzing versus him escaping and the play breaking down. And
Well, you got that danger all the time with quarterbacks that can run, but I mean, not just blitzing. I mean, you got to stay in your pass lanes, and you can get pressure without sacking the quarterback if you're moving the pocket back and you're getting in his face and you're pushing him and making him step to the side or step back or get antsy back there. Then sometimes that's as good as the other kind of pressure, especially with certain types of quarterbacks. I mean, there's certain guys that you play that you want to keep in the pocket, and you'd maybe rather see them throw it than you would pull it down and run with it. He's pretty good at both, but he can kill you if you don't contain him, because he's got good speed, he's a good athlete, and he really hurts people when he gets out of the pocket.
I'm curious how you felt Charles's just game management on Saturday was, getting plays in and keeping things organized in that way.
Thought it was good.
I guess after watching, how Vad performed, particularly in the first half, do you have a plan to get him involved again this week, or is it just going to be how the game's going?
We'll see how practice goes and see how things materialize, and we usually have a plan when we get in the game, yeah. But I don't have a plan on Tuesday right now. We'll see how it goes, what happens, how he practices, how the other guys practice. There's a lot of factors that go into it. Clearly, he's a good athlete and capable of making big plays. He also had the ball out a couple times. You know, we've got to do better on some read parts of the thing, and but he's an exciting player, and he kind of gives you a boost when he gets out there, no question about it.
Coach, what's the upside to Anthony Autry? How has he developed over the course of the season? I mean, somebody you talked about early, and gradually he's gotten on the field more and more.
I think he's more comfortable. He still, you know, sometimes makes freshman mistakes, but he's a good athlete. He's got pretty good ball skills. We think he's going to be a good player. The thing that impresses me a lot about him is he'll throw it up in there. He's not the biggest guy, but he'll throw his body around and try to block and run into people and do those things. So I think he's got a bright future if he continues to work and comes along.
Paul, you talked about how good BYU is defensively. Obviously, the numbers would indicate that. What is it that they're doing from a concept standpoint that's creating so many problems for people?
Well, I think they're big and physical up front, and so they can stop the run with just the front seven. They don't have to have the secondary, and then they give you a lot of different looks when they get you in third and long, a lot of blitzes, a lot of zone fires, a lot of things that way, and they're good tacklers. You know, they've got the defensive end, 47. I think Anselm is the last name. The guy's a heck of an athlete. He's probably a first-round draft pick. So they've got guys that can rush the passer. They can get pressure with 3 or 4. And then they're able to drop into coverage. And teams haven't been able to run it all, so they get them in a lot of long yardage situations.
With the kickoff returns that you're allowing, is there anything particular that's happening or not happening that's springing the other team's returners to get out?
You talking about the other team's kickoff return? Well, everybody will play fairly well on. I mean, we tackled them inside the 20 a couple times Saturday. It would help if you didn't kick the thing head high to the 10-yard line and on one bounce. But on the one they ran back to the 40, we had 2 guys get out of their lane, which is going to happen some. You know, the good news is we've kicked off a lot. So if you kick off a lot, once in a while they're going to run one back to the 40. You're not going to tackle them inside the 20 every time, and especially with where some of the kicks have gone.
What does St. John need to do to get on the field more at this point?
St. John will play. He's going to play. He would have played Saturday. We had a little issue where, let's just say he and I weren't on the same page, and that's why he didn't play Saturday. But other than that, he would have played. He's practicing better, and if he has a good week of practice this week, he'll play some. If he can be accountable and do what he's supposed to do. And it's not always on the field.
With Will Jackson banged up, and
Mhm.
Morgan Bailey stepped in and played a good bit, are you comfortable going forward with him if Will can't go this week?
Yeah, well, originally when we started the season, that's who we thought would be the starting lineup. We thought that Morgan would be the starting right tackle, and that we had the 3-guard rotation with Amorgue, Shaq, and Will. And then when Morgan was injured and didn't play for a good part of the first part of the season, we had to move somebody out there. So, you know, if Will can come back and play, he would be the first guy to rotate in at guard and tackle this week. If not, you know, Tyler Kidney's played some at tackle, Brian Chamberlain, and then at guard you're going to have, you know, the third guard is probably either going to be Trey Braun or Aaron Joe, redshirt freshman. So what it does, it really, the first 5 is not as big a deal as the depth that comes behind it, because Morgan was the first guy in, and then Will could play either position when you rotated. And those guys played a lot of snaps on Saturday. We didn't rotate them much.
Ray and Zach, Do you expect them both to?
Yeah,
play?
they practiced yesterday.
I want to be clear on this. You said would Will practice? Would he rotate in at both tackle and guard, or would he be at one position?
Well, if he don't, clearly he's not going to practice today. I don't know where he'll be tomorrow. So if he doesn't practice, he'll probably be the guy that's the rotate. If he plays, he'll be the first guy in. He'll be either the guard or the tackle wherever you need him. He's played both. He started at both positions. He's a guy that can play either or. So he would be the first guy up. If he doesn't play, then it becomes how practice goes between Tyler Kidney, Brian Chamberlain at tackle, and Aaron Joe and Trey Braun at guard.
One of the things you kind of talked about that seemed a little out of the blue on Saturday after the game was your displeasure with, I guess, the sideline demeanor of the guys who aren't playing. Kind of what are you doing to address that this week?
We've had come to Jesus. We understand. We're on the same page.
Is that something that's kind of a personality of the team sort of thing, where some teams you have will just be more into games, and some teams?
I think it's an immaturity thing. I think it's a thing that's probably changed through the years that I've been coaching. For whatever reason, I don't know. But, if you're on the team, you have a vested interest in what's going on, and you should be there supporting your teammates. As through the years, it's changed gradually where it's almost like if guys aren't playing, they're not attached, And it's like I explained to them, if you're non-attached, then if we, win a bunch of games, we go to bowl games, you'll be non-attached. You're part of the team, and you should be there cheering on your teammates and excited to watch what's going on and not in la-la land. Some of us being young and immature too. And truthfully, it's probably not I didn't have an issue so much with the scholarship freshmen that are redshirting. They're kind of pretty good and into it. It's some of the other guys who understand they're probably not going to play. But that still doesn't change. It should be a privilege to be able to dress out and have your name on the back of the uniform and be on the sidelines at Georgia Tech. It's not something that you should just kind of show up. If you want to giggle it up and laugh and cut up and have fun, dance to the video board, then go get in the stands.
Who are the MVPs for the game, players of the week for the game?
B.J. Bostic was on offense, Isaiah Johnson on defense, and Tyler Morgan on special teams, the snapper.
Coach, a little off topic here, but I was told this morning basically that a quarter of your tickets for the Georgia Tech game have been given back. Apparently they haven't been sold. I know you can't sell the tickets, make people buy tickets. Have you heard that, and what is your response to that?
I haven't heard it.
Can I speak to that for 1 second? It's a new policy in place this year that we only sold tickets to our season ticket holders, and that's why they didn't sell out. So the general public wasn't able to buy through here, so it's a privilege to have season tickets.
One thing you said Saturday was that you felt like the team, like maybe specifically the offense, had lost some of the focus in the second half. Do you feel like was just related to the score, or is that something that's more that you got to deal with the team? That's
Well, that and we missed field goals and extra points, and clearly we lost focus. We missed a ton of reads in the second half, and we didn't take advantage of sometimes when we did get them right, where we had angles and stuff to create bigger plays. We missed some wide open guys in the passing game. I'm talking about wide open that would have been touchdowns, and each quarterback did it. Tevin missed one in the first or second series down the middle, and then Bad had the same look, and he went to the sideline, but he missed that one too. Both of them were behind him open. And in the first half, we hit them. So it's like that's the difference. We had a halfback pass that had a chance to be a big play, and we didn't hit any of those plays. You hit those 3 plays, that's 21 points more in the second half, and you make the field goal, and that's probably the difference.
Anybody else?
I asked about BJ. It seems like he's really made a pretty big impact in the limited number of reps he gets.
Well, he had a good game. He'd been hurt. He'd missed the last couple games. He'd been injured a little bit, and he got back healthy. But he's played well when he's been out there. He sure has.